So thrilled to have Robert Bose, the CEO of Sintana Energy. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Santana Energy recently entered the Angolan market through a strategic partnership with Corcel. What attracted the company to Con 16 and what are the key milestones you aim to achieve in the near term?
Our investment in Con 16, I think, is a good example, Mariro, of just our prevailing investment philosophy, which is looking for opportunities to deploy early stage, high impact capital that can give rise to very large outcomes. And I think our entry into Angola very much fits that bill. The way that we like to sort of shorthand the opportunity at Con 16 is it's kind of an onshore cost with an offshore prize. There has been a long history of production onshore in the Kwanza Basin in Angola, but as a result of many decades of civil strife, that production was shut in. But it is a demonstrated petroleum province. At one point, there was 9 producing fields, so a long history of production, but at the same time, a very significant level of underinvestment in exploration. It's very underexplored. I think the last exploration well drilled onshore in the Kwanza happened in the 1980s. So it brings to us the confluence of proven petrophysical opportunities with a very underexplored basin. And in Con 16 in particular, a well was drilled in the late 80s, which intersected with petroleum working systems at both pre-salt and post-salt intervals. And like the prolific offshore fields, both in Brazil and Angola, a lot of the opportunity at Con 16 is underpinned by these salt formations. And the sense in which it's an offshore prize, the current prospect that's the principal target, if we are able to replicate just the post-salt formation, that is almost 100 million barrels of recoverable resource. And if we are able to replicate the pre-salt, that's another 300 million barrels. So this is a 400 million barrel prize that has a well cost of $20 million. So were we to be drilling a similar prize offshore, the well cost could easily be 5-fold that number. And so in terms of Con 16 in particular, it really was sort of the confluence of a big potential prize, a relatively modest cost structure, and stepping into an opportunity that has significant runway, but has been proven to be a petroleum province. So we're really excited about it in terms of near-term milestones. The 2D acquisition campaign will start here shortly. The expectation is that will be complete early next year. And Corcel will be looking for some partners, at least in the first instance, to join us on drilling what will be the first exploration well drilled in the Kwanza Basin in almost 50 years, and one which we think will bring huge potential to the onshore business in Angola. So we're really excited, and the time frame is short, so that's really exciting.
And your exploration portfolio spans both onshore and offshore assets in Namibia and Angola. How does Santana Energy balance its investment and operational focus across the different regions and basins?
Carefully, I think is the short answer. And it's very much, more an art than a science. But if we take a bit of a step back and we think about, what our business is and the risks that we take, we are very much in the risk-taking business. And I think that is easily expressed by the extent to which most of our capital deployment is in early stage basins that are still emerging. So for example, we made our country entry into Namibia in October of 2021. And so that was prior to the announcement of Shell, which opened the Orange Basin. So we made a decision to get involved early because we saw a lot of activity, we saw a lot of promise, but it was still quite early stage. And so the only sort of viable way to stay in business when you take risks like the ones we take is to have a portfolio. So when we construct that portfolio, we look to preserve the potential very large outcomes we have without concentrating too much of the portfolio in one place. And so that means being thoughtful about diversification. So as you allude to, we have an onshore component, we have an offshore component. In Namibia, we have a license in the Walvis Basin. We have multiple licenses in the Orange Basin. We are partnered with multiple operators. These blocks are now in different stages of progress. So on the one hand, PEL 83 is home to Mopane, and so that is a development stage asset today, we're pleased to report. And conversely, we have a portfolio of very early stage exploration opportunities. So we really do look to create a portfolio that is diversified, but allows us to preserve exposure to quite large outcomes. Operationally, our business model, at least so far, has really contemplated partnering with operators and letting them really take the lead on all of the things which come with operatorship. So this is about efficiently deploying capital behind experienced operators, good partners, and people that can help us achieve very significant outcomes. So I guess you could say we do it the easy way. We partner with people who know what they're doing.
And you mentioned Mopane. The Mopane 3X well in Namibia's Orange Basin has delivered promising light oil and gas condensate results. How do these discoveries shape your future exploration and development strategy in the region?
I would say a couple of things, Mariro. To some degree, your risk appetite and investment strategy is always informed by your track record and your experience, and being so fortunate to be part of such a large discovery, I think has given us and many others a significant level of conviction in the power of this business to generate significant returns, not only for our investors, but for local communities, for basins, for countries. So when you have success, it sort of inspires you, I think, to do more. And I think that's certainly been the case with us on the back of our progress in the Orange Basin. I think that gave us confidence to do something in Angola to expand kind of the overall aperture of our portfolio. That said, I would note small sort of financially driven companies like ours are not the natural owners of large interest in large scale global development assets. So while it is very important for us to be able to deploy capital effectively, it's equally important for us to understand when it's our time to pass it on to others who are better attuned and accustomed to dealing with the risks of multi-billion-dollar development projects. And so I think the success at Mopane has given us the opportunity to experience that kind of life cycle of early stage investing, both in terms of deploying capital and hopefully being able to realize on the returns that capital can create. But I think if anything, it has made us more interested and excited about expanding the opportunities that we see, certainly regionally and beyond.
And data acquisition and seismic surveys are critical to unlocking exploration potential. Can you share insights into the ongoing 2D seismic campaign at Con16 and how it informs your targeting strategy for the potential of 2026?
The right people to really have that conversation with are our partners at Corcel, but I can tell you a little bit about what I know. As I mentioned in comments a few minutes ago, the acquisition campaign should start in the next month or so, if not a little bit sooner. So there has been a seismic contract that's been entered into, and Corcel will proceed with the service provider to acquire the 2D seismic. There is a fairly significant level of 2D coverage in the Kwanza Basin that already exists, and Con16 as well has decent data coverage. But it was important with respect to maximizing the visibility and promise of the initial prospect to be able to add to that. So in terms of how it informs what happens next, the plan is to utilize that data, which we expect to be available early next year, to just improve and amplify the discussions that we can have with potential partners to come in and partner with Corcel and by extension Santana to drill that well next year. So as you allude to, none of these things happen without good quality data and a strong story to go with it. As exciting as everything that we talk about is, it's big risks and the outcomes are binary. So the better the data, the better the story, the better the potential to attract the right partner and ultimately get the right outcome.
And partnerships seem clear to be central of your growth strategy, both with companies like Corsal, like you mentioned, and well, the government entities like NAMCOR. How do these collaborations enhance your ability to identify and develop new energy opportunities in Africa?
I will tell you that, and I've been saying this a fair amount recently, the single biggest driver of any investment experience that we have is the partners we choose. And you can buy good assets with the wrong people, and it'll be a very difficult experience. And you can buy assets that are difficult with the right people, and you can deliver really big things. And so partnerships are by far the most important part of what we do. And our ability to take the kind of risks that we want to take is dramatically informed by the nature, scope, and quality of those partnerships. Because we really are deploying capital at some of the earliest stages, and the intrinsic subsurface risk is so vast that we really need to try and focus on the risks that we can better manage, which are the overground complexities. And so much of that in countries where we are either new or recent entrants is about having the right partners who can guide, shepherd, manage, and deliver on the opportunities that we see together with them. So I would say by far the most important thing that we can do is find the right partners. Now, the challenge is you kind of only really know at the end because it's going through the good times and the bad times that really demonstrate the quality of a partnership. But we're ecstatic about our partnership with Corsal, and NAMCOR has been fantastic partners to us in all of the things that we've done in Namibia. So we've been, again, like in so many other ways, very fortunate to have the partners that we have in both places.
And just my final question, Sintana Energy is a bronze partner at AEW. What key objectives do you hope to achieve at the conference? And how do you see this platform contributing to your regional expansion in the coming years?
Yeah, I mean, I would say first and foremost, the progress and momentum of AEW has really been absolutely spectacular. Like, it really, in such a short period of time, to have become sort of the seminal conference for people interested in the energy business in Africa is truly like a testament to, NJ's energy, among other things. So it really is just an amazing thing to be a part of. And, we're so grateful to have the opportunity to sponsor and participate. In terms of like how it will assist and guide and deliver to us our sort of strategic opportunities, I feel like you can't credibly be in the energy business in Africa, which to some degree kind of means almost like truly be part of the global energy business without being here. It is almost impossible to keep up with the calendar of people you can see and the conversations that you can have. And so being able to have those conversations with a wide cross-section of people, ranging from regulators to ministers to commercial partners to service providers, I mean, it really is kind of the omnibus stop. But the thing that's even more sort of nice about it is it really is kind of like where I feel like the energy and business in Africa really blooms, blossoms, and flourishes. And so I kind of feel like we couldn't do what we do without being here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.